Okay, now you notice a lot of those examples that I posted for you are not photorealistic. We're still going for realism because we can tell that this is a hallway and this is a passage of trees, but it's not photorealistic. It's more artsy, and you're definitely welcome to get artsy with this one. So I'm not looking for photorealistic. I don't want it to look cut out. So if you're combining images for this one, which is perfectly fine, I don't want them to look cut out. It needs to look like a solid painting or a solid rendering. You can even do a graphic novel style with this. A lot of graphic novels were done in Photoshop. So, of course, when you create a new one, please keep in mind that if you're going to print it, you're going to have to get larger sizes and larger resolution. But for me, 800 by 600 is perfect for Blackboard and posting on Facebook and places like that. So I tend to stay in 800 and 600 a lot. When I print, though, I am very well aware that you need to get up on the resolution and the DPI. For me, for now, this is fine. For you, for practice, 800 by 600 or anything. It doesn't have to be this size, but make sure it's under 800 in pixels. So that way when you post, you're posting something that won't take you forever and it won't get lost and it won't crash Blackboard or eat up all our memory or all those kind of things. And remember, you can do portrait or landscape. I tend to favor landscape over portrait. You're welcome to do whatever. Your background can be white, black. I'm going to choose a black background this time because I'm going to do a space scene. So I'll choose a black background, but you can use any. Transparent is when you're drawing something that you want to transfer over to something else, so you want the background to be nice and clear. You can't save it as a JPEG. If you save it, if you want the background to be transparent, it needs to be a TIFF or a GIF. But for us, black JPEG is fine. So I'm going to create it 800 by 600. There's my art board, allows me to create. I'm going to scoot this in so you can see. If I click here, I get new layer. And I'm not going to worry. You can label this layer. Layer 2 is fine for me now. But if you want to get creative and call this stars or whatever, you can do that. How's that? Okay, stars layer 1. Okay. Now, if it's right under here is where you find that menu, but you can also find it under here, layer, new, layer, and there's your menu. Okay, so Adobe gives you more than one place to find some of the most important tools, which I love about that. So here we have a background layer, we got an artboard, then we got a stars layer, and then layer 1. We got plenty of layers. So I'm going to start on one of these. I'm going to change my color by double-clicking on the swatch and choosing a light lavender color. And I'm choosing a brush. Now, our default brush, if I go under here, our default brush is the airbrush, and this is what we get. And this according to the size. So it looks like this when it's small, and it looks nice and blurry when you get larger in your size. So I'm going to start out small here, and I want to choose something that's not so dense. This one has a little bit, notice the edges are a little softer, so I'll start with a very soft airbrush. Probably down here. Yeah, we don't want it, if it's too small, then it's going to get too sharp. Okay, so I'll start here. You can always close your window. If it gets in the way, you can just close it like that, but that was a good place to start. I don't like that big blob there. Be careful when you, just like if you were using a paintbrush, if you rest your brush in one spot, you're going to have a thicker layer of paint. So I'll go back, start again. Okay, that's what I want to do. Now, change my size here. And again, I'm just playing around with the brush. I'm going to keep it nice and soft right now, but remember you can change the hardness of the brush here too. Nice and soft though, and might be a little too big for here. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to choose layer 1 here. I'm going to change this to a white, or maybe just a really, really light. And then very slowly go around here. So this is a haze or a mist to my, as you can see, I'm creating a galaxy. Okay, so now let's get fun, funky and fun, and play around with some of these wild brushes here. When you click on the brush, it shows you what it does. Wow. So if I do it in a long streak, I'll get this, but if I do it in quick streaks, I get that. A little close to me. I'll do that. Change my brush size here to smaller. Now, notice there's a pattern that we're creating. We don't like that. We don't want it to look like plop, plop, plop. So let's change the direction of our brush here, like so. And now it's going in a different direction. We can scatter it more and change it again, maybe in another direction. And then smaller. Direction here. It's a little too small. Yeah. And scatter it and change directions. Remember, you're coming up with your own idea for this assignment. At the same time, you're welcome to try out what I'm doing here, just to get used to the brushes. I'm really just painting, and you can see it takes just as much time to paint in Photoshop as it does with the other. Now, that's a good start of what I'm doing. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my paint brighter. I'm using Tints, Tones, and Shades Value. I might go a little darker first and then come back in and do brighter. So we really get I break up that monotony there. See how that looks there? Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah. And what if we get creative and do this? And you're really breaking up that edge. But I did. I clicked on this arrow here and changed it to the black background. So now I'm breaking up that edge so it doesn't look so much like an edge. Now, I'm getting. And right here, before I change and get, this is going to take, you can imagine, quite a while to build up my my stars. So I will not make you watch the whole thing, but I am going to put a giant planet cluster. I don't want a black hole. I want a white hole in the center. So I will double click, choose the white over here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my default brush and my folder here. My default's here. And then I'm going to change the size to, yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Maybe a little bit less. There. And then 1, 2, 3. All right. I want it to have volume. So I will get rid of this part here. Right. Okay. See in a little bit. One thing I think I'm going to do here is flatten before I move on. You're welcome to keep it the same. Remember, you can go under here, File, under Layer, Flatten Image here. Or you can go over here and under this little guy you have a flatten image. I'm trying to get it so I can see in the little screen here. And flatten image. Okay, and then you see it all go back, and then you can easily make a new layer and keep going on.